DailyMail.com breaks down everything you need to know about this once loving husband, the beautiful wife he is accused of killing, and all the key evidence that could put Brian Walshe behind bars.
And while they won't have the body and they may not have video of what happened, they will be able to go through the jury in a very compelling way, describe exactly what he did to commit this offense. I mean, he may assert defenses like self-defense or heat of passion or something that mitigates what was done. I don't think he'll assert insanity, but there are defenses that place him at the scene that would mean he killed her, but that would mitigate his sentence.
Brian and Anna Walshe met in 2008 while she was working in a hotel in the Berkshires. She was an ambitious Serbian immigrant with a keen eye for hospitality. He was the son of a wealthy Massachusetts family. They fell in love and finally married in 2015, tying the knot in a small ceremony in Boston. The couple had 3 young sons who Anna doted on and adored. In 2020, after years of working in hospitality, Anna turned her eye to real estate. She joined the Mutlu Group, which was run by their close friend, Jem. He also happens to be the last person to see her alive on New Year's Eve.
The whole thing is a tragedy, Julie. The whole thing is a tragedy. Anna and Brian have been individually and together very impactful on my life. A part of me had this suspicion all along that there may have been foul play and that somehow just the story wasn't adding up.
On the surface, it looked like the couple had the perfect life.
Hey, she's found this opportunity. It really lights her up and she's really excited about it, and I couldn't stop her from taking on a new opportunity. So, we're all happy for her that this is something that worked out for her. And that was my understanding, that things were going wonderful, that her boys were doing great, that everything was going well in her life, and that it was almost like a picture perfect, scenario.
But behind the scenes, Brian was facing legal trouble. In 2018, he was arrested on suspicion of trying to sell 2 fake Andy Warhol paintings as the real thing, and he was placed on house arrest. And around the same time, he was also embroiled in a bitter family fight over his father's money. Shocking court records describe him as a sociopath who was only ever interested in his father's wealth. By February 2022, Anna had switched jobs, accepting a high-paying position with the prestigious Tishman Speyer in Washington, D.C. Now, it was a step up professionally, and friends say that it caused tension in the marriage. Brian vanished from his wife's social media pages, and by December, prosecutors say he had reached breaking point. On December 27th, he Googled "best states for divorce for a man." New Year's Eve was the last time anyone, aside from Brian, saw Anna alive. She and Brian hosted a party for their friend, her old boss, Jem, which ended at around 1:30 a.m. On January 1st, Anna was due to fly to Washington, D.C. for work, but she never made it to her flight. Her husband would later claim that she kissed him goodbye in the morning and left the house in a taxi at around 6 a.m. But 3 days later, with no sign of Anna, her colleagues called the police requesting a welfare check. 4 days later, Brian was arrested for misleading the police. And upon searching the family home, detectives found traces of blood in the basement. They also discovered discarded items of blood-stained trash in a dumpster near Brian's mother's home.
You understand those charges, Mr. Walshe? I do.
By January 17th, the evidence was mounting. Brian was charged with his wife's murder and he was presented to a judge in Quincy, Massachusetts. Dozens of Google searches about murder, how to dispose of a body, decomposition, and even whether a body can be identified with broken teeth.
Maybe he thought because he used his son's iPad to do the Googling that that type of evidence wouldn't be taken. That's the only thing I can think of could have been going through his mind to protect himself.
4:58 a.m., how to stop a body from decomposing. At 5:20 a.m., he searched how to embalm a body. At 5:47 a.m., 10 ways to dispose of a dead body if you really need to. At 6:25 a.m. on the 1st, how long for someone to be missing to inherit? At 6:34 a.m. on the 1st, can you throw away body parts? At 9:29 a.m., what does formaldehyde do? At 9:34 a.m. on the 1st, how long does DNA last? At 9:59 a.m., can identification be made on partial remains? At 11:34 a.m., dismemberment and the best ways to dispose of a body.
Watching his body language in court as, you know, this evidence is being presented to him, it's almost like you could read it on his face, like, oh crap. You know, I mean, if you're Google searching this type of things on the day that something happens, maybe it wasn't premeditated and it was an accident that shouldn't have happened.
They also have DNA evidence from a dumpster. Anna's Prada handbag and Hunter boots were found along with a blood-stained rug and a hatchet. Brian is being held in custody with no bail. He has pleaded not guilty to murder and he will return to court next month.
The evidence against him is pretty severe, and I think he's going to have a hard time getting out of this one. Yes, there is no body, but the rest of the evidence shows a very strong prosecution case for circumstantial evidence that he was the murderer.